morning, and thank you very much for joining us. I am Iyori Folani. Today, let's take another look at the security story. I'm talking about the meeting that has happened quite recently. That was called by the Northern States Governors Forum and Northern Traditional Rulers Council. Far-reaching decisions apparently were made there because one of the most important ones is that they have jointly, that is the Traditional Council, the Northern Traditional Rulers Council, and the Northern States Governors Forum have jointly called for the establishment of state police to tackle the worsening security in the country. They actually also identified illegal mining as one of the main contributory factors to the incidence of violence and insecurity in the north. They actually proposed also that mining be suspended for a period of 6 months because mining was said to, you can trace it, you can see the nexus between it and the criminality, banditry that's going on over there. So the idea is let's suspend mining for 6 months so we can sort of get the lie of the ground and sort of fix it. We're going to talk about that this morning, but just before then, here's the package that we had put out earlier.
Call for desperate measures, and for more than 8 hours, northern governors alongside the region's top traditional rulers deliberated behind closed doors, seeking solutions to what they now describe as an existential security threat.
A few voices, driven by narrow political motives, have worked to create the impression that northern governors have grown complacent or inactive. Nothing could be further from the truth. Every governor seated here works tirelessly to secure our communities. We coordinate, compare strategies, share intelligence, and hold one another accountable.
I would like to extend our deepest condolences and solidarity to the governments and people of Kebbi, Kwara, Kogi, Kano, Niger, and Sokoto states, following the recent abductions of school children and other innocent citizens. I equally extend same over the recent resurgence in Boko Haram attacks in Borno and Yobe states.
The meeting, which began at midday, stretched well into the night, and at the end of the intense session, northern governors issued a communique outlining sweeping security and political commitments. First, they renewed their public loyalty to President Tinubu in the fight against insurgency. And northern states will also launch a historic 19 billion naira monthly regional security trust fund.
In order to effectively confront the security crisis in the north, the forum resolved to set up a regional security trust fund to be funded with monthly contribution of 1 billion naira from each state and local governments to be deducted as source under a framework to be agreed upon.
The governors further made an urgent call for a 6-month suspension of all mining activities in the north, citing illegal mining as a major contributor to insecurity.
The forum reaffirms its wholehearted support and commitment to the establishment of state police. Accordingly, the forum encourages national and state assembly members in the region to expedite action for its actualization. The forum observed that illegal mining has become a major contributory factor to the security crisis in northern Nigeria. The forum therefore resolved to strongly recommend to the President to direct the Honorable Minister of Solid Minerals to suspend mining exploration for a period of 6 months to allow proper audit and subject all mining licenses to revalidation.
These sweeping commitments mark one of the boldest security and political statements in recent memory. How Abuja and the affected sectors respond remains to be seen. Lope Asom, TVC News, Kaduna.
Well, so, there you have it. That's like the background. So we're going to look at it. As I said, we'll have two, guests and two experts looking at this whole matter. One, a security expert, Mr. Yemi Saka. He's also a policy analyst. And then we'll also be touching base with Alhaji and Aminu Hassan, chairman, MBA in Kebbi State. We'll be going over to them. So two main important bodies here, Northern States Governors Forum and the Northern Traditional Rulers Council, seem to have, hit the nail on the head, if you ask me, and that they are jointly calling for the establishment of state police. State police, as you recall, it's a subject matter that many have been sort of, what is the word to find now? Shy about allowing the establishment of, but now with the Northern governors, 19 of them, agreeing that we need state police. It's I guess, following the logic that we all know that crime is local, but if you can sort it out at the local level, then you really are on the way to wiping it out. So this agreement was made, which is a major move forward. We'll look at it. Of course, there have been those that have been a bit skeptical, saying that, I hope this is not politics. Maybe we should just take it at its face value. You can't have such eminent people as Northern traditional rulers sitting together and combining with Northern state governors, all 19 of them, and still be, can one really genuinely still be suspicious of their motives? Okay, we'll find out what you think, and indeed what our guests think. Well, I have in the studio with me Mr. Yemi Saka, security expert and policy analyst, as I said. Thank you very much for coming on the program.
Thanks for having me. It's always fun being here, being with you.
Thank
you make the conversation interesting, and
Thank you very kindly. Now, this is a, first of all, would it be right to call it a wholesome surprise, the news that came out that all the Northern governors are for state police?
Well, it's surprising, but it's a pleasant surprise.
Pleasant.
It's a pleasant surprise. And I think if we say it true, we're probably a step closer towards entrenching robust public safety.
Sorry, I mean, you used an expression, if we see it through.
Yeah, if we see it through.
That's a caveat.
Because,
I mean, you're not taking it as a done deal. It's been stated.
Yeah, it's because we've seen instances in this country where things now get divided along tribal and religious lines, and it's a man or person that's there. These policies will hamper him, or probably we want to support everything that comes, or we probably want to be anything that seems, antagonistic towards him. So that's why I said, if we say it true. We've been clamoring for state police since forever.
Yeah.
That brought about the constabulary by Mr. Former administration of former President Muhammadu Buhari. A lot of that's why I said if, because with no intent of disrespect to the region, they have a way of reaching an agreement or going against national consensus. I'm not here to promote division or brigandage or what have you. You saw when the 19 northern governors, when the youth of this country came out to demonstrate, clamoring for police reform under the guise of NSAS. You saw what the chairman of the Northern Governors Forum said they were happy, they were thanking their northern leaders, traditional rulers, for creating an impression that was a tribal and a religious thing. He said it's out there. So it makes someone like me skeptical of their political pronouncements, because for now it's still a political pronouncement, trying to sound politically correct, if this is what the country wants to hear, if we want to be seen as we are doing the right thing, on the same page with everybody, or they're probably genuinely concerned about, because when they get back to their various states, they go back and start playing the dirty politics.
Which can be a problem. And why many will probably be excited by this, that even Mr. President has said recently that maybe following this whole wave of heightened insecurity, that maybe we ought to look at this matter of state police once again and send something to the National Assembly to help us. That was Mr. President's suggestion, followed by 19 state governors. And of course, all of that preceded by, as you said, for a long, long time, we've all been saying that this is the way to go, but not everybody was on the same page.
I remember when I was younger, when we were residing at Pedro Axis.
Okay.
Then there was the days where everybody respected the so-called, the famous CID. And they tracked a burglar or a robber that came to hide in the compound. They were tracing, I don't know how they got the intel, and we were just shocked when they took the guy out of the compound, and like, wow, it was like magic. We knew where everybody, we read books when we were in secondary school about CID, how effective they were. Because if we get it right with state police, the most critical thing we need in fighting any form of insecurity is intel. And the most credible and the reliable source of it is human intelligence, we call humans. Police is closer to the people. Whether we like it or not, it's an aberration that we're stretching our military all over, creating a lot of theaters of conflict and what have you. These are things that police could have nipped in the bud before it becomes a national disaster and a monster we're dealing with on a national scale. So, with state police, but how do you want to get about the state police now? It's just going to be like we're going to have a state command under the governor. We're going to have a state police that it's people, residents in the states that will be on the force, because those are two different things we're looking at. Is it going to be the simplest way to start is each state command, everything just becomes a state police. Now, how do you now want to retain the force, the men, the personnel on the force? Are you not going to tell them if you are from Kebbi, Kwara, Sokoto, go, we just want Lagosians in Lagos? Or if you are from Ondo, so it's I don't know how. So we need to still look at that conversation as well. That's going to be the next level of conversation of creation of state police.
But as they say like politics, a crime is also local. And so if you can fix it at the local level, I saw a certain reaction. Your thoughts on that whole notion?
There are some crimes that have international dimension.
Well, yes.
But there's always, there's a bit of local input because there are local collaborators like what we're dealing with in the northeast and northwest. Whether we like it or not, we can come out, blame Mr. President, we can come out, blame the ministers, we can come out, call for ministers, dismissal or removal, we can even indict the military, but people in those areas, the traditional rulers, traditional institutions, members of this community are, if they don't want these things in their community, their domain, to be easier for the police, to be easier for the military, to be easier for anybody starting with responsibility to do his or her job right or rightly.
Okay.
Yoruba says, well,
it's an interesting idea, but I wonder if you consider that in spite of all those difficulties, challenges of understanding and the logic of it, now everybody seems to be on board. All the governors in that area are on board. All the traditional rulers are on board. And as I said, all of this happened after Mr. President, following the wave of violence, had actually said that maybe we should just look at it and follow the law, send something to the National Assembly. If it comes back positively, that's one step forward. I don't think we've had such unanimity.
No, I think with a lot of people, and at some point initially, I've also been, and I've always been critical of Mr. President, but there are two moves. The first one was when he got into office immediately, that was not properly communicated to Nigerians. The removal of subsidy on forex, which we call, which in terms called floating of the naira, brought about starvation of funds for funding of terrorism or terrorist activities of organizations. With that brought about the upsurge in what we're seeing, because those guys need to now come out to the public, raise funds for their criminal activities, raise funds for, to still stay relevant and what have you. Now, the second pronouncement is the withdrawal of police from the VIPs.
Yes.
Whether we like it or not, there's a lot of people.
Well, when you withdrawal of police from
VIPs.
All these from VIPs, but it was replaced with something else.
Yeah, I'm still going to come to that. But because a lot of people are so used to the reliability, no matter how much they want to bash the police, they still believe in the strength and the competence of the police ahead of the civil defense. Ironically, if I was to be in their shoes, I probably want to go for civil defense because they had their firepower training and everything under the army. I've seen excessive whatever from the police trying to still give them the good shit. I don't want to bash them today. So, but the withdrawal of the police from protection from the VIPs makes everybody vulnerable.
Okay.
So, with the vulnerability of all Nigerians, whether we like it or not, there are sponsors that are collaborators in Nigeria. There are direct sponsors and there are some people sponsoring indirectly. When all of us are exposed to these things, that's why they need to call themselves to order that we have to act. Because those guys coming out from the bush or forest to kidnap or carry out, to wreak their havoc, would not know if you are their sponsors or not. So that's one thing we should also look at. Those two policies are working hand in hand. And over time, I have this conviction that we probably will win this war on terror. The good thing here is the northern leaders coming out at this time, we should have gone past this stage.
We should have, no doubt about it.
Because I remember when a lot of people wrongly, because people might say wrongly criticize him. I remember when then the Minister of State of Defense, then the Governor of Zamfara State, Bello Mohamed Matawale. And I guess that's one of the reasons he's still holding his portfolio, because of, I think, his innovation while he was dealing with it, irrespective of what people want to see outside. He came up with his policy of shutting down the borders. Let's assume that all the 19 state governors were in bed with him in shutting down their borders. There would have been a massive depletion of whatever those guys' reserves of their logistics. That have cut off logistics from them. And even when 2-3 states did that, please, what did the commander-in-chief with his NSC then in office, what did they do? Nothing. Because they didn't have a fighting troop. Those guys were stuck in the forest. They couldn't move around. They were not getting supplies. What was the government of the day just had to move with his force? Because when we talk about non-kinetic, a lot of people imagine we're talking about ransom payments and what have you. Non-kinetic is also ways that you don't deploy forces, but you're achieving results. That was a non-kinetic approach. You'd have expected the government of the day to come with its own kinetic strength, push them out, but they did not.
But they did not.
And when they think, and because of the blockade and everything, it was telling on the people. So there was a limit to how long you could expose your people to hardship.
Well, Mr. George in Ikeja, good morning, sir, and thank you very much for holding on. Go ahead now, please.
Good morning, Uncle Yori, and good morning to the guests.
Good morning.
Uncle Yori, the coming together by the northern governors to embrace state police is to be expected. There is a saying that experience is the best teacher. You know, with the state of insecurity in the north now, almost all of them have already established security outfits to be able to see what they can do in the insecurity in their states. I want to encourage the governors to do the same as they are doing now and jointly find a way to nip insecurity in the bud. When Boko Haram started in 2009, the way it was coming, if they had gotten together like this and said no, we wouldn't have gotten to where we are today. Let them also, especially the traditional rulers among them, let them also embrace or find a way to nip insecurity in the bud like the leaders or elders do in the Southwest. That's the reason why Southwest is about the only region today that insecurity has not really
overall.
So when things are going wrong, when they are what are misbehaving, they should be bold enough to tell them, don't do this, stop it. If the young people discover that the elders do not support what they are doing, chances are that they will stop it.
Okay.
Then it is also good to know that policing is expensive. So the governors should get ready to fund police properly. Otherwise, they will not be able to perform well. I want to suggest to the National Assembly on this matter that the law that will set up this state police should include clauses such as federal police functions are separate from state police functions. There's a need to spell it out. For example, I don't expect the state police to participate in federal elections. If they must participate or provide security for elections, it should be restricted to only state elections, so that people, they will know their boundaries. And I also want to appeal to the Senate President and the Speaker of the House. During this constitutional amendment, I was hearing that they want to allow people to be bearing arms. I beg them in the name of whatever they believe in, not to try it. It will be counterproductive in our society today. We see what it is doing in the U.S. And the U.S. doesn't have acrimonious political climate like we do here. Uncle Yori, can you imagine if P2B supporters have access to arms? You'll be going into people's houses to fire them and kill them.
I wish you hadn't gone as far as that speculation.
Sorry,
it's speculative, and I'm sure a lot of people will, take offense.
It's across board. I don't think it's across board.
Mr. George, well, thank you very much.
It's across board.
There's the controversial point that he added.
Yeah, but at least we jump. At least we took him on that, and we can probably move on beyond that. Then a quick one for me: when the government, because sometimes you have to look back and look at the merits and the demerits. When the government of the day, rolled out its economic policies, initially I came up with, and anybody involved in intelligence analysis will tell you that brought us 6 months back.
Okay.
In moving forward, because the hardship on Nigerians will make it difficult for the government and its forces to get the buy-in and the support and intel from the people, because the bandits on the other side are not dullards. They probably know they play the mind games as well as propaganda. So they probably want to come to those communities, make them look like modern day Robin Hood. So for us to combat that brings us back to the 19 governors. It's not just about coming saying you want to embrace state police, you are doing this and this. You have to go back to your states. You have increased allocation from the federal government. There is no states in Nigeria now, even if you calculate, probably you do the arithmetic with the inflation and the exchange and whatever, that's not earning more than at least times 4 of what it was, the allocation that was coming to it monthly in 2022, 2023. Please, what are you doing? Once you go out, you roll out, once I know I can go to the hospital, I can be treated, at least for basic things like malaria and what have you. Once I know my kids will go to school, even it's just the university basic education scheme that's been about, can get to at least from primary 1 to primary 6 with little or nothing from me. And there's food security.
And farmers can go to their farms.
And even because whether we like it or not, the government needs interventions and to just step in.
Also, sorry to interrupt you. There's this whole matter of free range.
Open grazing.
Open grazing. I beg your pardon. Free range, I think, is for fowls and poultry.
And I think I think that is quite silly for anybody in 2025 to be thinking of open grazing. In fact, when you hear some arguments, and I don't blame them. I don't blame them, because for 8 years they were emboldened by a commander-in-chief that felt there should be need for open grazing.
So that's a problem.
I don't blame them, because there was a man that did not contain those guys. Okay, let's speak to the biases, because we can't move forward without looking at the fundamentals. IPOB was initially wrongly classified as a terrorist organization because the process was wrong. The HAQ, Army Headquarters, declared it, and before they now went through the right way, the court, and was quickly gazetted. The same process now, the court declared the Fulani Elders, Killer Elders, as a terrorist group, and it took almost 6 months for them to be gazetted.
Okay.
And you ask yourself why. You probably, I don't see anybody. There was maybe up to now. There was no even one. There was a time they said some people were arrested on their way from Abuja, I think to Nasarawa or something, and said they were going on a revenge mission, and the next thing nothing happened.
I hear you. One moment, please. Let me bring on Garuba. Mr. Garuba has called in from Makurdi. Good morning to you, sir.
Good morning, Uncle Yori. Good morning to your guests.
Thank you.
Good morning.
You are doing a wonderful job. Let me go this way expressly. You see, I'm from North.
Okay.
I'm from Katsina State, precisely. You understand? And let me be honest with you. Anybody that is coming from North, let me say Northwest, precisely. Either you are a victim. If you are not affected directly, you will know someone, your neighbor, or someone close to that is a victim of that. My brother, the same father, was kidnapped along Binigwari Road. I know what it takes to get him out. I'm calling on the governors of the northern part of the country. I'm sorry to say this. People will not be pleased with what I will say. But all this their meeting will not yield any result. This is not today. They have started doing it. They have done it before. They will meet without any good, clear resolution. they say they ban money. If you can remember, Bibli on Kyori, there's a time telecom communication was seized for over 6 months. But it did not stop all those things. It will continue. So what I'm urging them to do is that they should go back to their home first to address the issue of out-of-school children. Out-of-school children.
Okay.
Unemployment among our youth.
Okay.
Go and check the statistic and see. Northwest. The high rate of unemployment. That's why you see these youth migrating from the north to the southern part of the country. Every day on a talk. Ask yourself this question. Despite all what we have in the region, arable land, why are they moving? They should ask themselves this simple question.
Okay,
50
then.
to 50% of youth from northwestern part of this country have no employment. Some of them, they wake up from morning to evening running about in the street. I challenge all of them, if they can come out and walk on the street, maybe Governor of Kaduna Obasani, let him walk from Kawo to NDA. You see the youth guys, they are not doing anything.
How to Mondo?
Waiting for you to see a little chance to use the chance and commit crime. You'll be shocked.
I hear you. I want to thank you for calling.
I will not agree. People may not like El-Rufai. El-Rufai said that something. The only repentant bandit is one that is dead. And that's the gospel truth.
Now, the two things. Number one, they have identified this whole group of traditional rulers and the governors have identified illegal mining as a main contributory factor to the criminality in the north and the insecurity in the north, because there are links to banditry and all of that. And so they proposed 6 months. Chilling, go and cool for 6 months. No more mining. Let's shut down mining. Can they do that in the first instance?
Well, if you can, if there's no price too much to pay to get security in place in this country. But how many northern states are battling insecurity? Katsina, Kaduna, now Kano, Borno, Zamfara, Kebbi, and Niger, and Kogi, and Kwara. Now, out of those states I've mentioned, how many states have solid minerals, though? You probably want to say legal mining is going on there extensively. Zamfara, Kogi, Kaduna, yes, legal mining, but it's not as, explosive as you probably want to say. But, so is what's responsible for the insecurity in Benue? Was it responsible for the insecurity in Taraba? What's responsible for the insecurity in Kwara? Was responsible for the insecurity in Borno. And so I think...
So you're saying that one should look at these statements and, put an analytical eye on it.
Because what's happening in Benue, Taraba, and extension Niger is because anytime they attack, because they're coming from Funtua, or coming from Kebbi, Katsina, whatever, they're going to trek down to Funtua, Zugeru to get to Kodangwa axis, Rijau, Mariga, Magama. And all these places they are going straight to Kanji. There's a forest reserve that lies along Kanji and New Boza. Why are they doing this? Is the Fulani militia doing that? They are not going for foreign reserves. They are not going for illegal mining. That the same problem they're having in the Kotangwa axis.
Please continue.
The problem they have in Kotangwa axis is what they're having in Benue. But Maiduguri, and I keep telling people as well, there are a lot of things to look at. Motives and ideology. There could be economic motives, there's ideological motive. And ideological, I think I've said it 3 or 4 times. Place the old map or the map of the old Kanemi Empire or modern day Africa. It reveals to you theaters of conflicts across Africa, from Cameroon to the Mediterranean Sea in Libya. That's ideology. You might not say that is 100% accurate, but there's a level of degree of accuracy in it. Because you see Cameroon, Niger, Chad, Nigeria, Mali, Libya.
So
So it's not just about illegal mining. We need to be robust about it.
Well, okay. I think we've also been joined by Comrade Usman Mohammed Anache. He's National Chairman, Grassroots Advocacy for Peace and Good Governance. And that's apart from being a member of the World Human Rights and Peace Commission of the United Nations. Good morning, comrade, and thank you very much for joining us.
Good morning, sir. Thank you very much.
Yes, sir. Appreciate your coming. In the studio here with me is security expert Mr. Yemi Saka and policy analyst as well. Now, this idea that northern governors have now okayed, I suppose in principle, but apparently they're very, very serious about it, state police and, you know, also a decision to suspend for 6 months mining. First of all, your comments on northern governors, all 19 of them, including Northern Traditional Rulers Council, okaying, you know, state police. Your comment on that?
You see, the suspension of mining for 6 months.
Okay, you take that first.
Yes, it's based on our advice from the grassroots. Mining is not only separating the insecurity, but it's the root cause.
Okay.
The root cause. So it's the root cause. So the areas that are mining, because there is very easy and cheap money there. So everybody comes there, and whenever they get this money, they'll start looking for another crime to commit, because some of them come from different places, from different areas, from different backgrounds. Even if the area is not a mining area where the mining activities is taking place, the people from the non-mining areas will move to that mining area. And sometimes these Fulani militias will not mine, but they'll give cover to these miners so that the miners will pay them. So most of this thing, it is two-way this thing. So the areas that have no mining will now have the security, the militia that will cover those miners. But the root cause of this problem is this mining. So that is why we advise the state governors in the north to suspend this mining, to revisit all the licenses granted, then to look at everything that goes out, to put a very good mechanism of whatever was mined should be noted, should be calculated. What goes to this local government should go to the local government. What goes to the state should go to the state. What goes to the federal should go to the federal. So the illegal mining should be abolished completely, and all those who are doing a certificate should be revised, and everything should be to the standard. So this is the first meeting. You see, the problem is what happened is this. We first of all advise the Kebbi State governor on all those issues here in Kebbi State. Then, if you think some months ago, he invited all the APC governors and they meet here in closed door in Kebbi State. So they discuss all these security issues in the country. And then later on, he invited the other governors again. They come here in Kebbi State and they discuss. Then he invited the emirs, all the emirs in the northern states. He invited them here in Birni Kebbi. They come here, they discuss. Then he brings the security summit, which bring even General Dambazo and so many experts in security were here in Kebbi. They take the communique of all those meetings, and they invited all the journalists, even the CDS, Christopher Musa, when he was the chief of army, he was here. The NSA was here. I was even among the people that were called by the spokesperson of the Ministry of Defense, Defense Headquarters, Brigadier General Gusau. I even presented a 10-point communique to him in writing. So all those gatherings that the CDS Musa asked the military and the other governors to do were mostly conducted here in Kebbi State. And after the conduction of all those this thing, the communique was put up together. Then the governors come together with the Mr. President to see how we are going to solve the problem. Because what we told them is this: we don't be looking at the top. We're not looking at the insurgency. The insecurity is already at it. But what is the root cause? So without getting to the root cause of this insecurity, you hardly get to solve it. So you have to quench the fire from the firewood distant mount, so that by the time the flame will not go up. And that's what was happened.
You know, let me just stay with you for a moment because you have some catching up to do. We have been dealing with Mr. Yemisaka has been, you know, with us for quite some time. The new Minister of Defense, you know, you've mentioned his name back to when he was CDS. Now he is actually a policy man. You know, I wonder, we were saying at the time that his work is really cut out for him. Talk to me about his appointment and his familiarity with that whole terrain, and how optimistic you are that we're going to make a breakthrough here. If you want, sir, add your commentary about state police, which all of these, the Northern Governors Forum and Northern Traditional Rulers Council have also sanctioned, say it's in order. Go ahead, sir.
You see, the CDS Musa, the Present Minister of Defense, is the best appointment ever made in the history of Nigeria. Is the best appointment, because to put the person who knows who specialize in the field is the best. And when you look at the way President Asuwaju did the appointment, you definitely agree with me that Mr. President is willing and ever ready to see the end of this insurgency that he inherited from the previous government. So you see, the appointment is that Musa has already done all those homeworks, but to implement them as the CDS, he needs the approval of the minister. Now he is the minister, so you can see the easy way of doing everything. You are the one that make the plans, and you are now given that plans to execute. And he is general. He was a Maiduguri at the operation theater commander of that operation, Lapi Adole. He was in the Northwest. And don't forget, he's a Sokoto man. He was born in Sokoto. He schooled in Sokoto. His childhood friends are all in Sokoto. So he knows the Northwest more than any soldier there. So he is part of Sokoto. He knows everything, the terrain of Kebbi. So, and he is somebody that can accommodate any idea. He is ready to listen, even to a small boy. He can listen to a small boy, provided you have something to provide, to add. General Musa is ready to listen to you.
Okay.
So by opening that, it is okay. On the state police, initially I'm of the opinion, in my opinion, that I don't agree with the state police. But with the advent of this arrangement and the advent of making it to make hand in hand with the national police, I absolutely agree. But there should be an area of demarcation and the separation of power between the two, so that there will be no clash. Because initially I was opposite, because the states that make the security guards are having security challenges worse than Kebbi State that use the conventional forces we have. So that is why initially I oppose it. But if it is going to work now, as the governors agree and the emirs agree, there's no problem. If they borrow a leaf from Amotekun in the southwest, that the southwest governors come together and make it okay. So I can agree it will be, inshallah, it will work.
All right then. Let me come to you now, Mr. Saka. As he has said, he initially had his reservations, but now he's more or less in agreement, provided it is done, you know, according to the rule book properly. So I wonder what you think of Alhaji Hassan's submission.
Well, it's
because, sorry, sir, because we were saying here that we hope people are not over-expectant. Nobody has a bad word about General Christopher Musa retired. Everybody, he seems to be everybody's darling. Yeah. And everybody is saying this is a round peg in a round hole. You heard him just now. Very few people know the terrain as much as he does. So I was wondering yesterday, day before that, I hope we don't just go and assume that because you got General Christopher Musa retired, within a week you feel that, you know, insecurity will be done.
Before we jump at Christopher Musa, General Christopher Musa's appointment as the Minister of Defense, I think as a country, as a nation, we should express immense gratitude to his predecessor, His Excellency Badaro, for not wanting to hold on to office when his body was failing him. Whether you like it or not, that was a huge sacrifice, because whether the office is important, the office is influential, but for him to do away with the influence for national, prosperity, moving the country forward, he has demonstrated, high level of integrity, patriotism, and selflessness.
That's okay.
Yeah, and it's commendable, and we should keep celebrating him, irrespective of what anybody think. I'm celebrating him, and General Musa is not with any kind of disrespect. Is another Minister of Defense. If you want to ask people in Nigeria, we've had generals that have occupied that position, and we had civilians that have occupied the position.
Okay.
Yeah, we've had Olushola Obada from Osun State, the deputy to Oyinlola as Minister of Defense. We've had Senator Muslim Obaniku, Minister of State of Defense. We've had General Liu Guzo as Minister of Defense. Even under President Yar'Adua, we had a civilian that had nothing close to it as Minister of Defense as well. And another thing I would like to correct, there's a wrong notion going out there that there's a senior minister, there's a junior minister. There's no such thing as junior minister or senior minister.
Minister of State.
It's Minister of State. And the Minister of State has enormous responsibilities as the Minister of Defense. And if I've had, Nigeria just, in some other countries like Egypt, like Azerbaijan, like India, they have 4 or 5 ministers for defense. The defense industry ought to have its own minister, as it is in Egypt and Azerbaijan. So laying that out there, I don't see somebody coming to claim seniority. I see them working hand in hand since they've been working together, and they now having General Musa and recently.
But we have our own culture here, whatever be the case. We have our own. I'm talking in terms of security, the army. We have our own culture here.
And for me, because
sorry, sir, the Minister of Defense is the head of that whole ministry.
No, they are joint heads, because the Minister of Defense is saddled with some responsibility. They include the Army, the Air Force, and some other components of the Minister of Defense.
Navy?
No, the Navy is under the Minister of State for Defense. DICON is under the Minister of State for Defense.
Right?
DICON is under the Minister of State for Defense. And I think even the DIA and what have you is under the supervision of the Minister of State for Defense.
Okay.
So it's like unbundling the task to 2 persons, rather than trying to overwhelm one person with the task. So for better supervision, for better coordination. When it is the plus having General Musa as the Minister of Defense is it brings on board his own kinetic training. Kinetic training by professionalism, or but what he studied and what he's been doing for over 30 years or close to 30 years. Naturally, is coming with a non-kinetic. Is a civilian.
It's a civilian,
So it's a non-kinetic approach to it, and Obasanjo has been an advocate of carrot and stick. Naturally, is the carrot. Musa represents the stick. So
yes, and General Musa, retired, has said that you don't negotiate with terrorists. You don't pay ransom. No. A very hardline approach.
Yeah, but when you talk about negotiation, because I remember when the news was flying about the Birin Kebbi abduction, that they're talking about negotiation. Oftentimes, negotiation is not about ransom payment.
Okay.
In an hostage crisis situation, you negotiate with the abductors. That's why you have negotiators, trade negotiators doing that. So, and I think Nigerians, probably some of them, they are less busy, probably could go dig up this Samuel L. Jackson movie called The Negotiator. They know the importance of a negotiation in an hostage crisis situation. So when you talk about negotiation, there's nothing like ransom payment. I was on ground in Birin Kebbi. I was fortunate to be part of the trip to Birin Kebbi.
Yes.
And I can tell you, beat my chest and even bet with my life, there was no kobo paid as ransom for those girls to be released.
Okay. Well, let me come back to, Comrade Anache. Your thoughts on this, on what Yemi just spoke about.
Yes. Actually, you see, he is right. There's no ransom was paid for the MAGA adoption rescue.
Okay.
Because the bandit that rescued the MAGA girls are under pressure. From above, we have so many military planes flying within the area. And on the ground, we have our army condoning the whole area. Then we have our own intelligence. Okay, mapping the area, even locating their location. They only use those girls as a cover, as a shield. If not, they will have gone since. So that's when the intelligence and the military negotiation will start to just release these girls. Okay,
sorry, sir, for interrupting. You know, you just said that the bandits that did release the girls, you said they were under pressure. And
yes,
there was, we had heard Mr. Nanuga, the spokesman to the president, had said that they were, so to speak, instructed to release the girls, and they complied. And a lot of people had been quite, you know, they weren't understanding about that at all. What's your idea? Because you've just said something that's similar to that, but yes, how do you explain this whole situation? That why will one of the president's men be saying that you spoke with bandits, you ordered them, and they complied? What's your explanation?
It's the same thing. The order given to them, they have to comply because they have no way out. They are already being condemned. So there's no way they can escape. So rather than to negotiate so that they'll follow the instruction of releasing those girls. So that's what he's saying. And it is true. So it's really rescue operation, the most successful and the most fantastic and coordinated by all security agencies. All of them working together in a synergy. So you can see, that is why we're always calling on the security forces to work in synergy. The civil defense should work with police, with army, with the DSS, with the immigration, with customs, everybody, and the locals.
Okay.
So this is very, very important.
We've almost run out of time, but just to finish it up from your side, so is there reason to be positive, you know, about the insecurity situation being affected now that we have this situation on the ground, much better than before? Briefly,
Absolutely.
Please.
Absolutely. But I want government to check the religious excesses, both Islamic clerics and the Christian clerics, because their excesses used to bring a wrong ideology to the followers, which is very difficult to control.
That's as much as we can take, but thank you for that very important point at the end. Thank you very much, sir, for coming on the program. Comrade Usman Mohammed Anachi, National Chairman, Grassroots Advocacy for Peace and Good Governance, as well as being a member of the World Human Rights and Peace Commission for the United Nations. Thank you very much, sir, for your time. And, you know, on that particular point, you understand, Yemi, you know.
No.
So are you also suitably encouraged?
Yeah, I was suitably encouraged because when I was in Kebbi, I saw first-hand coordination by the Minister of State Matawali. I saw the responses of the theater commander. I think Major General, Idris or something I think coincidentally is from Kebbi, and that was what brought about the prompt reaction, like he said.
Okay, we've got to go.
But I think if that mandate template adopted in Kebbi is adopted, you know, as response to every hostage crisis we have in Nigeria, we will get our people back to safety. Thank you very much, Mr. Yemi Saka, security expert and policy analyst. Really appreciate you every time. I always love being with you. I call you a Egbonya. It's always interesting. You make the conversation, like before you know 1 hour, 2 hours over.
So there you go. That's our program for today. But do please join us, not tomorrow, on Monday, for a fresh edition of the program. I am Yori Folani. Do have a great weekend. Bye-bye for now.